Whenever I think about the future of Netflix, I always wonder whether they could ever top their initial disruption of the video rental industry, where, they pretty much single-handedly, alongside the 2008 recession, caused the downfall of Blockbuster. And for a while, after disrupting Blockbuster, Netflix was massively on the rise, increasing subscriber counts left, right, and center. That is, until last year, when they announced a drop in subscribers for the first time in April 2022. This immediately changed investor sentiments from positive to negative, and which affected Netflix's share value. So since then, the big question that's been on everyone's mind is, what's the next big move? What's going to save Netflix? At the time, analysts came up with ideas like reducing password sharing, improving Netflix's content pipeline, and even creating a Netflix version of a Marvel universe. But the one that came up most frequently was for Netflix to start providing audiences with a cheaper ad-supported subscriber plan. I was pretty skeptical about the ad-supported subscription tier. I thought it showed that Netflix really didn't understand their audience at all, because people who cancel their Netflix subscriptions are canceling for two main reasons. The first being that with the cost of living going up, audiences are decreasing their monthly spending, which is then tied to the second reason, that there just isn't anything good on Netflix anymore. An ad-supported plan isn't solving the root issue, because it's not fundamentally the monthly price that is the problem. It's that past subscribers thought the monthly cost wasn't a good deal because the content was subpar. But a recent interview with Jeremy Gorman, who is Netflix's president of worldwide advertising, has changed my mind. And it all stems from what she said right here.
More standard ad formats in the short term, but then over the long term, I think really having the experience be more integrated into overall Netflix.
The integration of advertising into Netflix. Gorman indicates that Netflix is looking to offer advertising placement based on audience behaviors and consumption patterns, such as placing adverts based on specific age ranges and genders. On its own, this level of specificity is nothing new to the world of advertising. In fact, we've all had that moment of looking for some new shoes and it showing up on our social media feeds the next day. But specific targeting has always been something traditional TV couldn't do, because TV programming usually has a broader audience, and it's hard to measure who is watching at that specific time, making marketing on TV less efficient. Which is why it turns out I was wrong. Netflix and ads are actually a perfect fit, because Netflix is fundamentally a digital company, which, as I've mentioned on this channel before, means they think and act more like a tech company. And how do all tech companies think? Well, they think data first. The amount of data that Netflix has on us, gathered from our collective time spent on their platform, is huge. Just think about how much time you've spent on Netflix, and how much they could possibly know through correlation of our habits and interests. This all points to one thing, bringing us back full circle to the start of this video: disruption. It's obvious that Netflix is trying to disrupt TV networks and become their replacement. But disruption doesn't just affect one industry. Disruption ripples out and influences the survival of other companies as well. In its Blockbuster era of disruption, Netflix not only changed the video rental market forever, but also it changed the way cinemas, distributors, and production studios approach films and filmmaking. And when Uber came onto the scene, it disrupted not only the taxi industry, but public transport, and even in some ways people's mentalities on owning a car. With their latest strategy, Netflix could influence the relationship that brands have with advertising agencies. Currently, brands will go to agencies for a creative concept and production of their advert, and those agencies would either produce it in-house or work with their network of creatives. And then the brand, with or without the agency, would talk to the TV networks to place the ad in the programming lineup. But in this ad-focused era of Netflix, brands might not have to go to agencies anymore. After all, Netflix is partly a production studio, and they have a brilliant network of creatives who most definitely could create a great advert. And for the right price, Netflix might even be able to loop in high-profile talent to create some adverts, just like this shot on iPhone one that Damien Chazelle did for Apple. Netflix's network of creatives, coupled with the amount of data that they have on us, means that they could become a one-stop shop for TV advertising, reducing the amount of parties involved and streamlining the production of ads to become a more efficient option for brands to market to audiences. Of course, Netflix isn't alone in having an ad tier in their offering. Disney Plus and HBO Max have similarly hopped right onto the adverts wagon in 2022. And while recently content-wise, Netflix seems to have lagged behind Disney and HBO, the streaming race doesn't quite seem to be over yet. My prediction is that brands would likely spend more advertising budget with Netflix, purely because of the amount of data that Netflix has accumulated compared to their competitors' relatively younger platforms. And with more money coming in through advertising, it means Netflix can use that revenue to reinvest and improve their content, organically bringing people back onto their platform. Some brands may still go with Disney because of the sponsorship opportunities with the extremely popular Marvel franchises. But either way, I will most definitely be sitting back with my big bowl of popcorn, watching what comes next in this advertising era of the streaming wars. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy my previous video about the big marketing misstep that Netflix may have made for their latest film, White Noise. And as always, subscribe and turn on notifications to ensure that you don't miss any upcoming spiels in the future.